Welcome to Funimation 3D. What if one morning you opened your window, looked up at the sky, and saw not one sun, but two giant glowing suns shining above Earth? Imagine the surprise on everyone's faces. Imagine the bright light pouring through your room, the strange colors in the sky, and the feeling that something magical and mysterious had happened overnight. Would it be beautiful? Would it be dangerous? Would Earth become too hot to live on? Or could people, animals, and plants somehow adapt to this amazing new world? Today, we're going on a fantastic space adventure to discover what might happen if Earth had two suns. First, let's imagine what the sky would look like. Right now, we are used to seeing one bright sun during the day and the moon at night. But with two suns, the sky could look completely different. One sun might be big and golden, like the one we know today, while the second sun could be smaller and orange, red, or even a glowing white. The whole world would feel brighter. The blue sky might look lighter, almost sparkling. Clouds could shine like painted gold. Water in rivers, lakes, and oceans might glitter even more than before. And one of the strangest things of all would be your shadow. Instead of just one shadow on the ground, you might have two. Imagine running outside and seeing two shadow versions of yourself stretching in different directions. That would feel like something from a science fiction movie. Now think about sunrise and sunset. With two suns, mornings could become one of the most beautiful sights ever seen on Earth. Maybe one sun would rise first, filling the sky with pink, purple, and orange colors. Then, a little later, the second sun would appear, making the daylight even brighter. Sunsets could be just as magical. One sun might sink below the horizon, while the other still glows above the world, creating long golden evenings that seem to last forever. In some places, nighttime might become much shorter. In fact, if the two suns were placed in just the right positions, some parts of Earth might stay bright for a very long time, almost like daytime never fully ends. But here comes the really big question. Would Earth get hotter? The answer is yes, it probably would. Our sun already gives Earth the warmth and light needed for life. It helps plants grow, keeps oceans flowing, and gives animals and people a world that is not too cold and not too hot. But if Earth had a second sun, that extra light would bring extra heat, and that could change everything. Imagine summer becoming much hotter than usual. Sidewalks could feel burning hot under your feet. Ice at the North Pole and South Pole could melt faster. Snowy mountains might lose their white tops. Some beaches could disappear if sea levels rose from all that melting ice. Places that are already warm might become so hot that being outside during the day would be difficult. Of course, not everything would depend on simply having two suns. It would also depend on how big the second sun was and how far away it stayed from Earth. If the second sun were smaller and much farther away, Earth might only get a little warmer. But if it were bright and close, the heat could become extreme. Some places might turn dry and dusty. Others could face stronger storms because hot air can create wild weather. Thunderstorms might become bigger. Some areas could suffer long droughts with very little rain. Rivers could shrink, lakes could dry up, and forests might catch fire more easily during long, hot seasons. Now, let's think about plants. At first, extra sunlight might sound like a good thing, because plants use sunlight to grow. You might imagine giant flowers, huge trees, and fast-growing grass covering the planet. But plants need more than sunlight. They also need the right amount of water and the right temperature. If Earth became too hot and dry, many plants would struggle to survive. Fields could turn brown. Crops could fail. Forests might become thinner in some places. But nature is smart. Over time, some plants could adapt. New kinds of tough plants might appear, with deep roots to find hidden water underground, thick leaves to hold moisture, or shiny surfaces to reflect some of the extra sunlight. Animals would also face big changes. Creatures that live in cold places, like polar bears or penguins, would have a hard time if the world became much warmer. They could lose the icy habitats they need to survive. Animals that sleep during the day and come out at night, like bats and owls, might get confused if nights became shorter or brighter. Some animals would migrate to cooler areas. Others might change their habits. Imagine foxes resting deep underground during the brightest parts of the day, or birds building nests in shady places to protect their eggs from the heat. Life would keep trying to adjust, just as it always does. And what about humans? People are great at solving problems. If Earth had two suns, we would probably invent all kinds of clever ways to live in this brighter, hotter world. Houses might be built with thick walls to keep the heat out. Roofs might be painted with special materials to reflect sunlight. Cities could plant more trees to create shade. Schools might start earlier in the morning before the day becomes too hot. Parks and playgrounds could have giant sun shelters. People might wear lighter clothes and spend more time indoors during the hottest hours. On the bright side, all that sunlight could give us a huge amount of solar energy. We might be able to power homes, schools, and entire cities using the light from the two suns. So, could Earth still support life if it had two suns? Maybe yes, but it would be a very different Earth. If the second sun were gentle and far away, life might continue, although the world would be warmer, brighter, and full of strange new patterns. But if the second sun were too close or too powerful, Earth could become too hot for many living things. Oceans could warm too much, weather could grow more dangerous, and many plants and animals might not survive. So the answer depends on one important thing: where that second sun is and how much heat and light it gives to our planet. One thing is certain: Earth with two suns would be an incredible place to see. The sky would glow brighter, sunsets would look magical, shadows would double, and every day would feel like living inside a giant cosmic adventure. It might be beautiful, exciting, and full of wonder, but it could also be a big challenge for life on our planet. That's what makes space so amazing. Even one small change in the universe can create a completely different world. So, what do you think? Would Earth with two suns be the most awesome place ever, or would it simply be too hot to handle? If you enjoyed this adventure, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Funimation 3D for more incredible space stories and amazing what-if journeys.